like my accounts. I looked up with everyone to understand. I come in peace.
All right, so are you ready to like really dive deep into this world where music and fame and love, they all kind of like collide. And sometimes, well, they crash and they crash hard. We're going to unpack this like the very public split of this Nigerian music legend, Tubaba and his wife Annie Adibia.
Oh, no.
You know it. The African Queen, that whole love story turned reality show drama. So think of it this way. We're going through all this stuff, right? Like news articles and social media, it's exploding. And then they've got their own reality show, Young, Famous, and African.
Right.
We're like, you're decoders.
Yeah.
You're celebrity relationship decoders.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, what makes this split so fascinating, I think, is that it's not just like your average celebrity breakup.
Yeah.
You know, this is Tubaba. We're talking about a titan of the Nigerian music scene. Like
Cheer.
his influence. I mean, it's everywhere. Think Wizkid, Davido, Burna Boy. Global. Exactly. Like he practically wrote the playbook. And Annie's not just like arm candy. You know what I mean? She's a successful actor in her own right. So together, power couple. I mean, every move they make, people are watching.
Yeah, and their wedding back in 2012, I mean, that was legendary. Dubai, stars everywhere, the whole spectacle.
Right.
And then they renewed their vows just last year, filmed for the reality show.
You know, the show.
It's like picture perfect, right?
Right. On the surface.
On the surface, but then you start, looking a little deeper and it's like, oh, wait a minute.
It gets complicated.
Complicated.
Yeah, what we're really seeing here, I think, is that mask of public image, it starts to slip.
Yeah.
Tubaba fathered other children outside of their marriage.
Right.
Which, Annie has actually spoken about very bravely.
Even while they were
trying to, project this image of like, we're solid, we're together.
It's almost like they were living these double lives,
Yeah.
You've got the curated Instagram romance for the cameras and what's actually happening behind closed doors.
It makes you wonder why keep up that facade for so long? Like, was it about their careers? Was it trying to salvage something privately? Or maybe just like fear of judgment from everyone?
Well, and that's got to be, think about the pressure of always performing, always knowing that like every little struggle, every personal thing, it could be like tabloid fodder.
Exactly. For these celebrity couples, that perfect image, it's almost like a survival mechanism.
It's got to be. And then you layer on social media on top of that.
Oh my gosh.
It's like everyone's watching, just waiting for you to mess up.
Yes, and the lines get so blurry between what's real and what's, just for show.
Totally. So Annie, she actually chose to kind of shatter that whole perfect image thing. She starts talking about her pain and her struggles, even her miscarriage, and she does it on their reality show.
While they're still presenting this united front, yeah.
It's wild. Why be so open on that platform? Was it like a last-ditch effort to save the relationship? Was it about control? Or was it knowing the cameras were there,
It's impossible to know her true motivations, but it complicates the whole narrative.
Yeah.
We think about infidelity, right?
Yeah.
And it's like black and white. But this shows the gray areas, the messiness, all the emotions. Like, how do you reconcile love with that kind of hurt?
So Tubaba, he issues this public apology back in 2021. He called himself like a shitty husband and father.
I remember that.
Yeah. And this was after the news broke that he had like yet another child outside the marriage. It's like, talk about pouring gasoline on a fire.
Right. It felt genuine, maybe on some level, but also it felt like damage control.
It's interesting though, right? Like public apologies. It's like they've become a PR strategy.
Oh, for sure. Especially in the age of social media.
Yeah. So was it remorse, accountability, or was it just trying to save his brand?
Good question. And then you got the vow renewal, right?
Yeah.
Filmed for the show, this big grand gesture.
So weird.
Right. But it's like privately, things are imploding.
Yeah. Were they trying to convince themselves, the world, like, everything's fine, or was it the pressure of the show? Like, give the audience that happy ending. It's like their lives became a performance and we're all just watching.
Yeah. And then that performance comes crashing down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tubaba drops this bombshell on Instagram. Separation, divorce, the whole thing.
And then it gets weirder.
It does. What happened?
The post vanishes, gone. He says he was hacked. Then he goes live and confirms the separation. All in, like, a few hours.
It's like he panicked.
Yeah. Tried to take it back, but it was too late.
It shows you the power of social media, right?
Yeah.
You can craft an image, but it can blow up in your face.
When the truth comes out, it spreads like wildfire.
Exactly. And then, in the middle of all this, there are these, like, really shocking allegations. Unverified, of course.
What kind of allegations?
Like Annie poisoning him. even attempting to, stab him.
Whoa.
It's a reminder, right, about how rumors can just take off, especially with famous couples. People love the drama.
It's like how much of what we see is even true? And how do you separate, fact from fiction when it comes to these high-profile relationships?
I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
We're going to, before we go back at the beginning, we should look at some of these key moments, right?
Okay.
Like Tubaba's public apology in 2021, the one where he's like, I'm a shitty husband and all that. What do you think led to that? Like, what was the catalyst for that?
Yeah, that apology. It was right after news broke that he fathered his 6th child outside of the marriage.
Oh, right.
Like, talk about a PR nightmare. I mean...
6th child. Like, you got to think he was trying to, like, get ahead of the scandal.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it might have been genuine, but it also felt very strategic. Like, trying to soften the blow.
Especially, I mean, think about it. It wasn't that long after the vow renewal. It's like...
I know.
Whoa, hold on. What's real here? Yeah.
Exactly. It's that whole picture-perfect vow renewal orchestrated for the reality show, and then bam, reality hits.
Right. Another kid? It just shows you the pressure these couples are under.
It's insane, the pressure to keep up that image.
Even when their lives are falling apart behind the scenes. It's like two different worlds, the fairy tale for the public and then the painful reality.
Okay, so then you have Annie's decision to, like, really open up on the show. And she could have just stayed quiet,
Yeah, to play the supportive wife.
Right, but she, like, puts it all out there, her pain, the infidelity, even the miscarriage. What do you think? What was she doing?
It's so complex. It could have been a cry for help. Or maybe a way to, like, finally hold him accountable.
Yeah.
But on camera... I don't know.
But she knew the cameras were there.
She did. Maybe it was about taking back some control. Like, this is my story and I'm going to tell it.
Yeah. It's definitely not what people expect, in these situations.
Right. It challenges the whole, like, stand by your man thing.
Totally. And I think a lot of women, I mean, they probably connected with that,
Right.
They've been there.
Absolutely. It reminds you that infidelity isn't just a private thing. It has a huge impact.
Yeah. And you can't forget the cultural context, right? I mean...
Divorce. It's huge stigma, especially for high-profile couples.
It's like this pressure to just stay together no matter what.
It's like, keep up appearances, but at what cost, right?
It's so suffocating. You're making decisions based on, like, what other people think instead of what's actually best.
Yeah, it's all tangled up. Image, personal struggles, culture.
Right. But let's not forget, like, at the center of it all, you've got two people.
With a long history.
Yeah, and it's a messy history, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were together before he even changed his name to Tobaba back in 2014.
Way back. And remember, Annie was even in the African Queen video.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's like where it all started.
Their love story. It's almost like this full circle moment,
It's poetic, but like in a tragic way,
Yeah.
They start as this symbol of love and hope, and now it's all falling apart.
It just shows you. Even the, like, fairy tale love stories, they have their own complications, And sometimes fame, that pressure, it's just too much.
Okay, so let's rewind, right? Back to the beginning. Before the fame and the fortune.
Before African Queen blew up.
Yeah. What was their relationship like back then? Were there already signs of trouble?
Well, the sources, they suggest there were problems even before the big wedding.
Really?
He already had children with other women.
So the infidelity, it was there from the start.
Yeah. It makes you wonder why they got married in the first place.
Right. Like, were they trying for a clean slate? Or was it just, like, societal pressure?
Tough to say. But it seems like they were already, in some rough waters.
Yeah. And then as the fame grows, the spotlight gets bigger, those problems just get amplified.
It happens a lot with celebrity couples, The fame, it can either bring you closer or tear you apart.
It's like a test, almost.
Yeah. And in their case, it seems like it exposed the weaknesses.
Yeah. The more successful they got, the more their personal lives became like this...
Spectacle.
Yeah. And everybody's watching and judging.
It's damaging, that kind of scrutiny.
So we've got infidelity, insecurity, all that from the beginning. Then you add the fame, the pressure, the public eye.
Not exactly a recipe for success, is it?
It's a lot to handle.
It is. And remember, we're only seeing, like, a tiny piece of their story.
Right. We don't know the whole thing.
We don't see the private conversations, the attempts to fix things.
But what we can see is, like, the cracks were there from the beginning.
Yeah. And no matter how hard they tried to hide them, they just kept getting bigger.
Leading to this, like, very public and messy breakup.
It's a cautionary tale,
Yeah.
Even the most glamorous love stories can have these dark undercurrents.
And sometimes trying to keep up appearances can actually destroy what you're trying to protect. Man, we've been through it all, haven't we? The highs, the lows, African Queen to reality show chaos. It's a lot to process, you know? This whole Tubaba and Annie thing.
It really makes you think about fame, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, on the one hand, you have adoration, money, opportunity.
Right.
But then you lose your privacy, your flaws are magnified, your life's a soap opera for everyone.
And then throw social media into the mix.
Oh, man.
It's like adding fuel to the fire. You have to look perfect. Your life has to be perfect online.
It's suffocating, especially for couples like them. Every little fight, every mistake, it's all over the internet for everyone to see.
Yeah, and everyone's got an opinion.
And it's no wonder so many of these relationships just fall apart.
But here's the thing I keep coming back to. Can love even survive with all that scrutiny? Like, can it actually work?
Big question, right?
Yeah.
People have been debating that forever. But social media makes it even trickier.
It does.
The line between public and private, it's gone. And the pressure to be perfect, it's relentless.
Think about it. Every couple argues. Every couple goes through tough times.
Sure.
But for them, it's all out in the open.
It's like living in a fishbowl, and everyone's staring at it.
And you're the one decorating the fishbowl.
Right.
You're choosing what to show, what to hide.
And that takes a toll, even on the strongest relationships. So I guess the question is, what does this all say about relationships today? Like, especially relationships in the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, are we setting ourselves up to fail? We want these perfect romances, but real life is messy.
Right, we see all these perfect couples' relationship goals online.
All the time.
But we forget every relationship, famous or not, takes work, compromise. You got to deal with the hard stuff.
And then you add the fame, the attention, the temptation.
It's a minefield. Almost like the odds are stacked against them.
So what now? For Tubaba and Annie, can they, like, figure out co-parenting, move on, or is this just going to keep dragging on?
Time will tell, I guess.
Yeah.
But what I think we can learn from all of this is, empathy. It's easy to judge, to get caught up in the drama.
Yeah.
But we have to remember, they're real people with real feelings.
It's easy to forget that.
And even these, seemingly perfect couples, they can have real problems.
Yeah. Their story is a reminder that fame doesn't protect you from heartbreak, from betrayal. Relationships are complicated.
And maybe the biggest takeaway is just be kind. You never know what someone's going through.
Good advice. So we've reached the end of our deep dive, but, the conversation doesn't have to end here. This whole thing, it's probably going to keep unfolding, right? For them and for all of us as we try to figure out love and fame and relationships in this crazy digital world.
Relationships, they're messy, they change, they're never simple.
Nope.
And we may not have all the answers, but maybe that's the point. The journey is where you learn.
That's deep. So until next time, keep thinking, keep asking questions, and remember, behind every headline, every post online, there's a human story.
A human story.
And that's what matters.